One of the things I really appreciate about the tradition of art in the Western Church is the complete dedication to mastery of craft. Oil painting has been around since about the 1300s, and almost for that amount of time, the technique known as glazing has been around. And it's a technique in which the artist would first paint the figure in what's called a grisaille, using just grays and brown and white. And what that did was it established the values of the figure. It established the form, the lighting, without regard to color. Then what the artist would do is to thin the paint with a medium and to apply thin layers over top of the grisaille underpainting. The effect was very realistic because it simulated what happens with light when it interacts with human skin. It goes through layers of color, and there's a translucency there, and so the light goes through the surface of the skin and scatters and bounces back out in much the same way that oil paint does when you use this technique. Before I began the glazing, I actually covered the entire head and face with a layer of medium that's known as a couch. And what that does is it just lubricates the surface of the painting so that it accepts the paint, the glaze, more easily, and it aids with the blending. So you can see that when I'm applying paint to the lips, for instance, the paint remains thin enough to let the grisaille underpainting show through. So you can still see the highlights and the shadows, and that's what gives it that lifelike luminescence. I started with the highlights, and I covered it with kind of a yellowish ochre color, and I'm working out towards the shadows, adding more red as I go. So now I'm starting to work into the shadows and using my umbers and some vermilion to give it that lifelike color. So you can see how using this technique, it's rather easy to lay realistic color over the underpainting once you have the values established. So using this same technique that I'm using with the face, I'm going to go in and continue the rest of the figure. What I'm using as a painting medium for this layer is just a 1-to-1 mixture of odorless mineral spirits and stand oil. Stand oil it's linseed oil that has been thickened, sun thickened, which gives it a viscosity. that is nice to paint with, and it doesn't have the extended drying time that just using straight linseed oil would give it. So I hope you've enjoyed this brief painting demonstration, and I hope you'll like my Facebook page and share my website with your friends. I'll see you when the painting's finished.